Xiaomi Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus Camera Review. Hello my dear friends, how are you? I hope you are well, in good health, and in the happiest state. Today I have a new video with you. I hope you like it, but before watching the video, subscribe to the channel to receive everything new. Now let us follow the explanation. The Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus 5G has 3 cameras on the back, with the primary camera being one of the key marketing features for this device. Here we have a 200MP Samsung ISOCELL HP3 sensor along with a 23mm f1.65 equivalent 7P lens and OIS. The sensor operates in 16:1 mode by default and produces 12.5 megapixel images. However, it can capture native 200MP images as well as use center crops to produce lossless 2x and 4x images. The other 2 cameras include an 8MP ultra-wide camera and a 2MP macro. The camera app is reasonably well laid out, with all the main modes placed at the bottom, and additional options can be brought up by swiping down on the screen. In terms of features, you'll get the usual stuff like night mode, portrait mode, as well as pro mode. Unfortunately, there's no RAW capture in Pro mode, which greatly limits its usefulness. Now for the image quality. Image quality from the main camera was a bit disappointing due to substandard color reproduction. All images have a purple bias, which can be very noticeable in some cases. Colors also lack warmth, which mostly affects reds, as dark shades such as red soil often appear brown in some shots. Purple bias is particularly damaging to skin tone, as darker colors often appear pink instead of brown. Our review unit also showed noticeable chromatic aberration in many shots, resulting in very noticeable purple fringing around high contrast edges, like tree leaves against the sky. Normally this is a lens artifact that can be prevented by software, but this did not seem to occur in our unit. The situation with colors was unfortunate, as the level of detail and dynamic range in images is otherwise satisfactory, although there is a tendency to overexposure by a stop, just like on Samsung phones. If Xiaomi could adjust the colors and exposure, this could be a very capable camera, but at the moment it is not. To further clarify this point, it is compared here to the OnePlus 11R. Shadow detail isn't as impressive on the OnePlus, but it has considerably better and more accurate color rendition. The scene looked the same as it does in the OnePlus images, further highlighting how skewed the Redmi is in comparison. Both have the same level of detail, although one has 4 times as many pixels due to the sensor on the Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus 5G operating in 16:1 mode, meaning it only captures 12.5 MP worth of data and doesn't compress 200 megapixels in a 12.5 megapixel image. But there is an advantage to having a 200 MP sensor, and that is while zooming. The 2x zoom uses a center crop and 4:1 mode to produce a 12.5 megapixel image, which looks super sharp and on par with any native 2x camera. In fact, it looks better because you still have the advantage of superior optics and aperture, which the original telephoto cameras lack. The 4x images are cropped more and captured in 1:1 mode, so they are not as sharp but still perfectly usable. Original 200MP images have a lot of detail, but file sizes can range anywhere from 8x to 10x for 12.5MP files. These images also don't benefit from the same level of processing as 12.5MP images, so dynamic range is worse and chromatic aberration issues are more highlighted. What would make more sense would be to have a 50MP mode with 4:1 pixel binning. These can still contain a lot of detail with more manageable file sizes and better image processing. Moving on to the 8MP ultra-wide camera. It's nothing particularly special. The resolution is not sufficient for this broad perspective, so the level of detail is understandably low. Images have a decent dynamic range and color gamut matches the main camera for the most part. This camera also exhibits purple fringing, so it appears to be a systemic issue with the software and not any particular camera. The 2MP macro camera is less terrible than we've seen in the past, but still pretty terrible nonetheless. There's no detail to speak of, and having to get physically close to the subject with a wide-angle lens also introduces distortion. The worst part is that the macro camera is completely redundant on this phone, as you can get much better results by just stepping back and using the 2x or even 4x zoom on the main camera. You get more resolution and detail, better color and dynamic range, and much less distortion with a more pleasing depth of field. We've said this before, but macro cameras are just there to inflate the spec sheet and make it seem like you're getting more for your money when it's just a scam. Moving on to video. The Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus 5G can capture video at up to 4K resolution at up to 30 fps. This is a limitation of the chipset itself, as the sensor can do much higher resolution and frame rate combinations. 4K videos have a rather pleasing look, not showing the same level of over-sharpness that we typically see on smartphones, while maintaining the level of detail one would expect from 4K video. Unfortunately, it still suffers from the same purple bias and color fringing in still images, and in rare cases it can look quite bad. The combination of voice and eyes works well enough for handheld shots, but there's noticeable shake if you choose to walk or run, and it's not as well suppressed as on more expensive devices. The ultra-wide camera can only record up to 1080p resolution, and videos are noticeably smooth and underexposed to mask shadow noise. However, they can be used under the right conditions. At the end of the video, I thank you for watching and I hope you liked it, and see you in a good video.